नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं वाचं ततो जयमुदीरये जितं ते पुण्डरीकाक्ष नमस्ते विश्वभावन नमस्तेस्तु हृषीकेश महापुरुष पूर्वज सदक्षरं ब्रह्म ये ईश्वरः पुमान् गुणोर्मि सृष्टिस्थितिकालसल्लयः प्रधानबुद्ध्यादिजगत्प्रपञ्चसूः सनोऽस्तु विष्णुर्मतिभूतिमुक्तिदः मुनिरुवाच तपांसि मम नष्टानि हतं ब्रह्मविदां धनं हतो विवेकः केनापि योषिन्मोहाय निर्मिता ऊर्मि षट्क अतिगम ब्रह्म ज्ञेयम् आत्मजयेन मे मतिरेषा हृता येन धिक्तं कामं महाग्रहं व्रतानि वेद वेद्य आप्ति कारणानि अखिलानि च नरकग्राममार्गेण संगेन अपहृतानि मे. Parāśara was telling Maitreya the story of Prachetas, and he wanted to know what was the stuti that Prachetas did and what happened after they came out of the tapas. So when they came out of the ocean, they saw that the entire bhumi was filled with mahirohanam samuhaha tatra asit prajanam vruddhireva abhavat iti drishtva tesham tu mahan krodaha jataha. Tarhi, they started destroying the trees there. So the king of the trees, which is Soma, Chandra, he decided to do a peace treaty between the trees and Prachetas there. So he tells the story of Kandu Rishi, and the daughter of Kandu Rishi is going to be married to Prachetas. So in order to give a prelude of her Utpatti, he gives the story of Kandu Muni. So when Kandu Muni one day, as he was doing his regular Sayam Sandhya or Prata Sandhya Upasana, tada he saw he saw an Apsara Stree called Pramlocha, and he gets attracted to her and he starts staying with her. He asks her to stay for some more time. She wants to get back to Swargam. And slowly, as she spends a lot of time there, suddenly one day he decides to take his Kamandalu and go to the Nadi Tiram for Sayam Sandhya Upasana. And she asks him, "Where are you going?" "Oh, now it has become evening. I've spent the whole day with you." Then she laughs and says, "You have actually spent 900 years and more with me. And suddenly you are now talking about going, saying that you have only spent one day." Then the Rishi, he becomes aware of what is happening, and he says, "Mama tapamsi nashtani, all my penance have been gone here. Kenapi yoshin mohaya nirmita eva." Yoshit, the woman, has been created only to delude people, and it makes others lose their vivekam. So kshut pipasa ityadikam jitva eva brahma jneyam iti atmajaya margam anusritya yan maya etavat paryantam kritam tat sarvam tu adhuna nashtam. So he feels for what he has lost over the past few years and past many years, actually, right? So 9 centuries are over there. So vratani vedya apti karanani akhilani narakagrama margena sangena apakritani me. Everything that is actually a path to narakam. Sangam is the path to narakam, and because of that sangam, all of my years of tapas and everything are completely gone. And he continues, Vinindya itham sa dharmagnaha swayam atmanam atmana tam apsarasam asinam idam vachanam abravit. Vinindya itham saha dharmagnaha yaha dharmam janati saha dharmagnaha itham atmanam vinindya. Sorry. Ittam atmanam vinindya, he ridicules himself, or he abuses himself. He scolds himself. Ittam atmanam swayam atmanam atmana eva vinindya. He does not expect another person to scold him. He himself scolds himself, and then he says the following words to that Apsarastri. Tam apsarasam Asinam, one who is sitting, tam apsarasam, idam vachanam abravit, he told her. He says, Gacha pape, yatha kamam, yat karyam tat kritam tvaya. Devarajasya matshobam kurvantya bhava cheshtitaihi. Devarajasya yat karyam yat tat tvaya kritam mat kshobham kurvantya tvaya bhava cheshtitaihi tat karyam kritam. So the Anvaya here is, He pape, yatha kamam gaccha. You go as you please. Yatha kamam, yatecham gachatvam. Yat Devarajasya karyam, that which is the work of Indra. Tat mat kshobham bhavacheshtitaihi kurvantya tvaya kritam. Mat kshobham kurvantya tvaya, by you who are causing a disturbance in me. Mama kshobham kurvanti tvam. So you are causing that sort of an agitation in me because of bhava cheshtitam. Bhava cheshtitam here is more like anubhava, vibhava and all that. Anubhava, vyabhishari bhava and sattvika bhava. So she exhibits a lot of actions which show that she is very devoted to him. So because of that bhava cheshtitam, she has created a disturbance in this Maharishi, and tat kritam, tat karyam kritam, Devarajasya karyam tu adhuna tvaya kritam. You have completed your work that Indra has appointed you to do. So, he pape yatha kamam gaccha. You can go. Natvam karomi. See, she was always afraid that he was going to give her a shapam or reduce her to ashes. Natvam karomi aham bhasma krodha tivrena vanhina satam saptapadam maitram ushito aham tvaya saha. Aham tvam bhasma na karomi krodha tivrena vandina, with a fire that is as which is with anger which is as tivram like agni, or krodhat tivrena agnina. So with a fire that has been made intense by the anger that is present in me, tadrisha vanhina tvam bhasma na karomi aham. I will not reduce you to ashes. I will not make you into ashes. Why? The reason he gives here is satam maitram saptapadam uktam aham tvaya saha ushitaha. So satam maitram, the friendship between good people, is said to be made of 7 steps. That is, the moment you take 7 steps together, then a relationship has been established between the two of them in some way or the other. So maitram, a friendship is established even with 7 steps. I have lived with you. Aham tu tvaya saha ushitaha. I have been living with you for such a long time. So I should not give way to my anger and burn you. Natvam karomyaham bhasma krodhati vrena vanhina satam saptapadam maitram ushito aham tvaya saha. Athava tavako doshaha. So then he immediately then goes back to himself. See, this is the vacillating mind of the anybody who has done an mistake here, right? A dosha kritasya manaha kidrisham bhavati iti atra yatayatena tatra bhavati. He goes back and forth. He first blames her and then he blames himself now. Athava tavako doshaha. It's not your fault that this is like this. Kimva kupyami aham tava. Why would tava ityatra, you can say tubhyam kupyami. Usually kup, you will have to have 4th case for that. These are all arsha prayogam, purana prayogas, so it's okay. So kimva aham tava kupyami. Why would I be angry with you? Mamaiva doshaha nitaram. This is entirely nitaram mamaiva doshaha. This is only my fault completely. Yena aham ajitendriyaha. I have not controlled my indriyas. My sense organs are not won over. So it is definitely entirely my own fault. So what is your fault here? I cannot be angry at you. Yaya shakra priya arthinya kritaha me tapasaha vyayaha tvaya dhik tvam mahamoha manjusham sujugupsitam. Now again he goes back to her. my entire tapas has been spent, completely emptied out. Me tapasaha vyayaha kritaha. Expenditure. Vyayahana is actually expenditure, spending of the tapas. So all of my tapas has been completely spent out because of you, Tvaya, who are doing what Indra wants. Shakrasya priyam arthini. Shakrasya priyameva tvam vanchasi. Tadrishya tvaya. So Shakra priya arthinya tvaya me tapasaha vyayaha kritaha. Completely my tapas is gone. Tadrik tvam. So tvam dik. Dik, when it combines with the word, the other word should be in Dvitiya Vibhakti here. So tadrishim tvam mahamoha manjusham sujugupsitam dik. Dik is chichi solrol. Yeah, it's like that. Maha Moha Manjusham. You are like a Manjusha, a Petika for Maha Moham, a great delusion. That is, you cause confusion, a great confusion, and you are like a box of that. So Jugupsitam, someone who is to be derided, Virikkatakka oru nilamai. Yeah. So you someone who should be looked upon with disgust here. So Jugupsitam Tvam Dhik, because you did what Indra wanted, and my entire tapas is gone now. Now, Soma Uvacha, Yavaditham sa viprarshihi tam braviti sumadhyamam, tavad galat sweda jala sa babhuva ativepatuhu. So she became very upset and afraid here. So because of bhayam, her body had started sweating and she was also shaking here. So ativepatuhu. Atishayitam vepatuhu yasyaha sa. This is like a bahubrihi here. So ativepatuhu, one who was shaking a lot. Galat sweda jala. Sweat was just oozing out of her body. Galat. Tavat sa babhuva. She became like that. When yavat sa viprarshihi, when that great rishi tam sumadhyamam itham braviti, when that great rishi was talking to this beautiful lady sumadhyamam, one who has a beautiful waist, so sumadhyamam tam itham braviti yavat, in the time that he was talking to her in this manner, tavat, during that time, she became a person who was oozing out sweat and was also shaking a lot. She was sweating and she was shaking because she was afraid of this rishi here. Okay. Soma uvacha pravepamanam satatam svinnagatra latam sati gaccha gaccha iti sakrodham uvacha munisattamaha. Satatam pravepamanam svinnagatra latam satim. Her job is this is what it is. So, and her king is Indra. She has to follow whatever instructions that Indra does. She can't do otherwise. So she is a sati. She is, after all, a good person. She did what she was destined to do. That's all. So pravepamanam, satatam pravepamanam, one who was also shaking continuously. Svinnagatra latam, her body, which was like a lata, creeper, it was swinna, sweda yuktam, swida dhatoho bhakta pratyaya. So swinna, it was constantly sweating profusely. Sa sati, satim drishtva munisattamaha, the rishi, sakrodham uvacha, he told her angrily, gaccha gaccha iti. He said, go away, get lost. Satu nirbhartsita tena vinishkramya tadashramat akashagamini swedam mamarja tarupallavaihi. Nirbhartsita, tena nirbhartsita, being threatened by that muni, maharshina, nirbhartsita, sa pramlocha, tad ashramat vinishkramya, tasya ashramat, munehe ashramat bahirgatva, akashagamini sati, as she was traveling in the akasham, swedam tarupallavaihi mamarja, she wiped her sweat using the leaves on the trees. So tarunam pallavaihi patraihi swagatra swedam mamarja, she wiped it away. vrikshat vriksham yayo bala tad agra aruna pallavaihi nirmarjamana gatrani galat sweda jalani vai. This is a single word here. So vrikshat vriksham bala, that young girl Pramlocha, tad agra aruna pallavaihi nirmarjamana gatrani nirmarjamana vrikshat vriksham yayau. So that lady, vrikshat vriksham yayau, she went from one tree to another tree. Nirmarjamana, wiping her gatrani, her angam, her limbs, which were galat sweda jalani, which were oozing sweat continuously. With what did she nirmarjamana, with what she was wiping? Tad agra aruna pallavaihi, with the pallava sprouts which were reddish in color because it is softer than the leaves. So she used the pallava sprouts which were reddish in color and which were also tadagram, which was in the top portion of the trees. So as you see a branch, there will be a lot of smaller branches, but the corners will always have some sprouts coming out. And as she was going, she wiped herself away on those sprouts which were just growing. This has an effect. Why is there such a big description about the sweat? She was born out of, the girl was born out of the sweat. That's what we are coming up with later. So vrikshat vriksham yayo bala tadagra aruna pallavaihi nirmarjamana gatrani galat sweda jalani vai. ऋषिणा यः तदा गर्भः तस्याः देहे समाहितः निर्जगाम सः रोमाञ्चस्वेदरूपी तदङ्गतः. ऋषिणा यः गर्भः tasyaha dehe samahitaha. The garbha, the fetus that was placed, samahitaha, in her body, tasyaha dehe, rishina, by the rishi, that saha, tada, when she was going through the akasham, that garbha came out of her body, tadangataha nirjagama, it came out of her body in the form of romancha sweda rupi. Romancham happens, there are goosebumps, and then sweat comes out of those bumps, right? Those pores that are there in the skin. So the garbham that was there inside the body came out of her in the form of swedam. So romancha swedarupi saha garbha tadangataha nirjagama. How can this happen? Don't think of practicality here. This is a story in one way. Another thing is, in those days, this could have happened. If you think Parvati created, Ganapati with her sweat, right? She had put on manjal allam pottundirukkarche. She took out that along with the chandanam. She made Ganapati there. It's that's how this, you'll have to think of it in that manner. Tam vrikshaha jagruhu garbham ekam chakretu marutaha mayacha apyayitaha gobhihi saha tada vavrudhe shanaihi. Tam garbham vrikshaha jagruhu. So the trees took that garbham, which was in the form of sweat from Pramlocha, and then marutaha ekam chakre. Marutaha, Vayu, brought all of those together, and maya gobhihi cha apyayitaha, that garbham was also grown using my kiranam. Mama gobhihi, maya, by me, apyayitaha, it was nurtured and brought up using my kiranas. That is Soma. Chandra is telling here that he brought up that child using his kirana. So kiranam, chandrasya kiranastu amrita yuktaha santi, tari amritam eva tatra garbhasya pranarupataya tatra vidyate iti vaktum, he says this. So the garbha, saha garbha, gobhihi maya apyayitaha san, being brought up by my kiranas, tada shanaihi vavrudhe, that garbham slowly grew. So Pramlocha sweda and rishina garbhaha yaha samahitaha Pramlochayaha dehe. Then the vrikshas took it in the form of swedam. Vayu brought it together, and then Soma, Chandra, gave it the necessary nourishments through his rays. Vrikshagra Garbha Sambhuta Marishakhya Varanana Tam Pradasyanti Vaha Vrikshaha Kopayeshaha Prasamyatam. So Vriksha Agra Garbha Sambhuta Varanana Marishakhya. Marisha iti nama yasyaha sa Varanana Atisundari Vrikshanam Agraihi Garbha Sambhuta, or Vrikshanam Agrani Eva Garbha. When the Svedam came and deposited itself on the sprouts that came from the trees, then that sprouts became a Garbha covering for that child. So Vriksha Agraha Eva Agrani Eva Garbha. Tasmat Garbhat Sambhuta Esha Varanana iti. So Vrikshagra Garbha Sambhuta Marishakhya Sambhuta Asit. Tam Vaha Vrikshaha Pradasyanti. The trees will now give her to all of you. Vaha Pradasyanti. Eshaha Kopaha Prashamyatam. Now, may this anger of yours be pacified. Yeah. Kandoho apatyam eva sa vrikshebhyaha cha samudgata mama apatyam tatha vayoho pramlocha tanaya cha sa. So she is the child of 5 different people here. Kandoho apatyam, the daughter of the child of Kandumuni. Evam sa vrikshebhyaha samudgata, but she came out of vrikshas, the trees, in this manner. Mama apatyam, she is also my child. Tatha vayoho, she is also Vayu's child. Pramlocha tanaya. And she is the daughter of the Apsarastri Pramlocha. Sachapi Bhagavan Kanduhu Kshine Tapasi Sattamaha Purushottamakhyam Maitreya Vishnoho Ayatanam Yayau. So this is actually Parāśara Uvacha. This should be Parāśara Uvacha because there is Maitreya here. And then this should again be probably this would be Soma Uvacha. I'm just trying to fix, I don't know. Let's see. So Sachapi Bhagavan Kanduhu, that Rishi, Kandu Rishi, Kshine Tapasi, when his tapas was slowly becoming less, when his tapas had become less, that is because of staying with the Pramlocha, his tapas had completely gone down. Kshine tapasi sati, when his tapas has completely had deteriorated, Sattamaha saha Bhagavan Kanduhu, he is one among the greater good people. So Sattamaha saha Kandu Rishihi Purushottamakhyam Vishnoho Ayatanam Yayau. He went to the place of Vishnu, which is called Purushottama's Ayatanam. So there is no difference between Purushottama, Vishnu, and his residing place, which is Vaikuntham. It is all synonymous there. So Purushottamakyam Vishnoho Ayatanam Paramam Padam Yayau. He went to Vaikuntham, and then Tatra ekagramatihi bhutva chakara aradhanam harehe brahmaparama ayam kurvan japam ekagramanasah urdhvabahuhu mahayogi sthitva asau bhupanandanaha. This bhupanandanaha seems to be an address to the Prachetas rishis saying, hey bhupanandanaha. Yeah. So because that line alone seems to be addressed to the Prachetas rishis, we'll have to take that as Soma Uvacha in the middle. It's a little confusing, and none of the editions give it properly, so I'd rather take it like this. So Tatra, in that place, Ekagramatihi Bhutva, with a very concentrated mind, Harehe Aradhanam Chakara, he did Aradhanam for Hari. Brahmaparam Ayam Brahmaparam Brahmaparamayam Japam Kurvan Ekagramaanasaha Urdhvabahuhu Mahayogi Sthitva Sthitva asau bhupanandanaha Vishnoho ayatanam yayau. Inge varno. It's such a confusing thing here. Like kurvanna asit iti vadamaha. You will have to take this as separately and put it as kurvan asit. Okay. So tatra Vaikunthe Vishnoho ayatane, or you can take it as Vishnoho alaye ityapi bhumau eva saha kasminschit alaye sthitva Vishnoho alaye devalaye sthitva ekagramatihi bhutva ha chakara ityasti. I totally forgot that. So ekagramatihi bhutva brahma paramayam japam kurvan, doing the japam upon the Brahma Param, the Yaha Brahmanaha Pare Vartate, one who is the essence of the Upanishads. That is Brahma iti Vedaha, Brahma Param iti Vedanam Antam. So one who is of the form of Upanishad. So Brahma Paramayam Japam Kritva. It can be the Omkara Pranava Japam also. Kurvan Urdhvabahu, with his hands above him, Mahayogi. Urdhvabahu is complete surrender here. Mahayogi Bhutva. So he completely, because he was a rishi even before he met Pramlocha, it was easier for him to cross all the stages of yoga and quickly go into Ekagra Chittattvam and Dharana Dhyana Samadhi. So it's that lapse, even if it was for 900 years, when he has to get back, that one mistake is enough for him to put him on a fast track here. So Mahayogi Sthitva, staying there, He Bhupanandanaha, the Prachetas, or Saha, Harehe Aradhanam Chakara. He did Hari Aradhanam as he was standing there in that Ayatana. Okay, I think that solves the Anvaya problem here. Prachetasaha Uchuhu. So then it makes sense here. So Pracheta Soma Uvacha, if you put it there, then Prachetasa Uvacha, Uchuhu, they spoke to Soma. They said, Brahmaparam Munehe Shrotum Ichchamaha Paramam Stavam Japata Kanduna Devaha Yena Aradhyate Keshavaha Munehe Brahmaparam Paramam Stavam Shrotum Ichchamaha. We would like to hear that great stotram that was done by this Muni, who was which that stotram which talks about Brahma Param, that which talks about the ultimate reality, or the Upanishad Tattvam. Japata Kanduna Yena Devaha Keshavaha Aradhyate, with that with which the stotram with which Keshavaha Devaha, the Lord Keshava, was being aradhyate, was being satisfied or being worshipped by this Kandu Muni who was doing japam. Japata Kanduna Yena Devaha Keshavaha Aradhyate tam tat paramam sthavam brahma param sthavam shrotum ichchamaha. We would like to hear that stotram. So Soma starts that stotram which Kandu Muni did. Lot of confusing words here. So we will have to go by what the Vyakhyanam says. So Soma Uvacha Param Param Vishnurapara Atra Rephaha Nasti. So Param Param Vishnurapara Paraha Paraf Parebhyah Paramartha Rupi Sa Brahma Paraf Parapara Bhutaha Paraf Paranam Api Paraparaha. To make sense of this and give different meanings for each word is a huge task by the Vyakhyata. Param Param. You take it as Param Param. He is the ultimate end. That's what we say. If you do an English translation for this, it will be the most hilarious thing and ridiculous thing. Only if you go by the Sanskrita Vyakyanam, you can make sense of this shloka. So Paramparam, Saha Paramparam, everything is just a direct adjective to Vishnu or the Parabrahma Swarupam. Okay, so Paramparam. Kaha Saha Katham Paramparam Bhavati Param Ityukte Niratishayam. Avritti Shunyam, there is no possibility of coming back. Tadrisham Param. So, we all say when you go up the mountain, you always have to come down. Right? Tatha atra nasti avritti shunyam. There is no coming back once you have reached that mountain peak called Vishnu. So Niratishayam, there is nothing beyond that also, and there is no returning back also. So Avritti Shunyam. Samsara adva param ityukte samsara advanaha avadhihi. He is the end of samsaraha nama adva. Kaschana margaha vidyate samsaro nama. Yena vayam sarve atra asmin advani eva gachantaha smaha. We are all going in this path which is called samsara. Samsarati iti samsaraha. That is one who takes a janma and gets associated with the kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam, etc., etc. That is called the path of samsara. Samsara advanaha avadibhut. So what is the goal of this samsara? We just keep on walking in this endless path. There should be a goal for this path. Any path should lead somewhere. There should be a destination. किं तद् गन्तव्यं किं तद् गन्तव्यम् इति चेत् विष्णुः एव परं पारम् यस्मात् निवृत्तिः एव न भवति तत्रैव स्मः once we get there we will only be there, we will not be coming back. Any traveler, he goes to one city, he will come back to hometown. Tadha atra hometown nasti, because the hometown itself is Vishnu here, so we are going back to him actually. We are not going somewhere and then coming back here. So param param nityukte yaha niratishaya rupena punaravritti rahitattvena samsara margasya avadhibhutaha bhavati tadrashaha Vishnu. The Shruti Vakyam here for reference is so advanaf paramapnoti tad Vishnof paramam padam. He reaches the end of his life journey, and that end is Vishnoho Paramam Padam. Iti Shruti Vakyamatra. So, Param Param Vishnuhu. The next adjective is Apara Paraha. Apara Paraha ityukte Aparam Yasya Parameva Navidyate Saha Aparaha Yaha na Paryate Dushprapaha iti Yaha na Prapyate Dukkena eva Prapyate Saha one who is very difficult to attain, dushprapaha, paraha, yasya saha. No, param param ityuktam, tarhi, can we reach him? You know, yes. So, dushprapaha, paraha, but it is a very difficult process. Samsara advanaha ape paratvat, he is very difficult to be attained. Apara paraha. Yasya paraha, one whose end is difficult to be attained. That is, you reach Vishnu, maybe read one shlokam and they say, oh, have I attained Vishnu? I have got the knowledge of Vishnu. That is not attaining of Vishnu or attainment of Vishnu or attaining the knowledge of Vishnu. It is just an intellectual exercise that you do. You understand what he is through adjectives, that's all. But experiencing is something different, and that experience is dushprapaha. So, paraha here means to understand him completely is apara, na paryate, na shakyate. Yasya, one whose limit is very difficult to be attained. Okay. So, dushprapyaha ityartaha apara paraha iti padasya. The next one is parebhyaha paraha. Okay. Dirghakalena prapyaha syat. As we walk in the samudram, so we look at the samudram, we think that there is no weight, especially if you stand in Kanyakumari and you don't see the Vivekananda rock, there is another stretch of ocean, you don't see the other side of the ocean at all. But there is a possibility you take a boat, you start on a journey to Antarctica, and you will probably reach the other side there. Tadha, atrapi Vishnoho, imagine he is a big samudraha, Viṣṇupurāṇa samudraha vartate, tasya param tu gantavyam chet, dirghakalam yavat, vayam marge gacchamas chet, tatra prayaha prapyaha bhavedeva iti chet, na. Parebhyaha api paraha. Akashadi, any element that you take which you think has a limit, he is beyond that limited objects, or even if it is an akasham which you think it is unlimited, even if it is samudram which you think it is unlimited, he is beyond that. Tarhi anantaha saha mahatopi mahiyan tasmat tasya paraha dushprapyaha. It's connected here. So parebhyaha api paraha. यद्यत् वयं परम् इति पश्यामः लोके तत् सर्वेभ्यो अपि एषः परः अस्ति तर्हि अनन्तः महतोऽपि महीयान् परेभ्यः परः परमार्थस्वरूपी and but then you can't attain him, it is very difficult to attain, he is beyond everybody, but why should we know him then? Because he is the Paramatma Swarupi. Satyam iti yatkimapi vastu asmin jagati vartate chet satu adharabhutaha parameshwaraha eva athava Vishnuhu अथवा परब्रह्म स्वरूपः सत्य स्वरूपः स एव परमार्थ रूपी स एव एतत् सर्वं तु तत्र भ्रम रूपः एव there is nothing real about what we see in this world. If there is anything that we need to know, that is him, because he is the satya swarupah. Or the other way to interpret this word is paramaha arthaha. Arthaha ityukte prayojanam purusharthaha परमपुरुषार्थरूपेण स एव वर्तते इति मोक्षस्वरूपः स एव. Is that clear? So param param Viṣṇurapāraparah parah parebhyah paramartharūpi. Now for the second line here. Sa brahmaparah paraparabhutah parah paranam api paraparah. Maybe I'll continue this in the next class. This will go for another 25 minutes. So we'll do this in the next class. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya narancaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vacham tato jayamudirayat.